In class, welcome back to these online classes. We have been studying the Hebrew poetry, and last time we have just begun the features of Hebrew poetry, and I think I have gone through 1, 2, and 3. Yes, still 3. So today we will see expansion. Okay, last time we have seen what is repetition, then contrast and addition. Okay, today we'll see number 4, expansion. Okay, expansion okay, is expressed in climatic parallelism. Okay, climatic parallelism. The second line repeats parts of the first, but adds something fresh, a new step, as it were, climatic to the highest part. Okay, that is what the meaning is. So the second line repeats part of the first, but adds something fresh. For example, there are 2 lines, and the first line says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul." And then the second line also repeat, "Bless the Lord." Okay, repeating the first line but adding something fresh in the second line. Okay, adding something fresh to the second line. Let's take an example from in your note. It is Psalms 34:4, but that is not that clear. Okay, you turn to Psalms 104 and verse 33. 104 and verse 33. Psalms 104 and 33. Please open your notes or open your Bible and see there. Okay, Psalms 104 verse 33. Okay, Psalms 104 verse 33. Now it says, the first line, "I will sing to the Lord as long as I live." Okay, I will sing to the Lord as long as I live. Now, second line, repeat the same thing. "I will sing praise to my God." See, I will sing to the Lord. I will sing praise to my God. So same thing, but something is added. What kind of song are you going to sing? I will sing praise. Okay, it's a praising song to my God while I have my being. Okay, so first line, "I will sing to my Lord as long as I live." Now second line also repeat, "I will sing." So it is repeating the first line, some of the person, but adding something there. "Praised to my God while I have my being." Now see, as long as I live, the same meaning is repeating here. As long as I live. Then the second line said, "While I am my being, I have my being." That means while I am still alive. Okay, so the second line is adding praise song. Okay, it is not a simple song, but it is a praising song. So the second line adds something fresh to the first line. Okay, so that we call it expansion. It is expanding the meaning of the first person of the part. Okay, but the same meaning goes, it is just an expansion. Okay, and number 5, transformation. Okay, transformation is expressed by emblematic parallelism. Emblematic means symbolic or representing. In it, one line is literal while the other is figurative, and commonly the 2 lines are talking of the same thing, so it is also synonymous parallelism. So transformation is expressed in emblematic. Emblematic is with symbol. Okay, with symbol. And this kind of psalms, the 2 lines goes together and it speak of the same thing, but the first line will be symbolic and the second line will be literal, or the first line will be literal and the second line will be symbolic, but it talks of the same thing. Now, everyone knows what is Psalms 42 verse 1. Okay, Psalms 42 verse 1. It is well-known Psalms and everyone sings a song from there. Now, the Psalms 42 and verse 1, it says, "As the deer pant for water." Okay, that is the emblematic. See, symbolic. As the deer pants for water or thirsts for water, so also my soul thirsts for you. See, the second line expressed is very literal, but the first line is emblematic. But these two lines speaks of one thing. My soul thirsts for my God. Okay, that's the meaning. But to make it more effective, it is used with this emblematic language. Okay, as the deer pants for water, so my soul longs for thee. Okay, as the deer pants. Now, when the deer pants for water, when the deer started thirst water, okay, it dare not to die. Okay, they even though they knows that there will be tiger or some dangerous animals like crocodiles in the river, but still then he will just go to the brooks and drink water. He risks his life and go there because he cannot quench the thirst and he cannot bear the thirst that he has. Okay, when the deer started thirst water, they would just simply go whether to die or not. They risk their life and go, because that thirsty cannot give them or it cannot bear them. Okay, so also like the deer pants for water, my soul longs for thee. Whether I die or not, I need my Lord. Okay, that's the meaning over there. So when you express the meaning of the song or the psalms, when you interpret it, it goes with a broader meaning. Okay, so that kind of psalms are called transformation. Okay, transformation is just emblematic. Okay, then imagery is something like it's a poetry, has much figurative language. It talks about the figurative language. It talks about the beautiful, striking, bold picture. Okay, sometimes you see the bold picture, sometimes you see old capital letters, sometimes with big things like that. Okay, so these are called imagery. Okay, something important to be noted. For example, you talk about you see some of the person like extra notes like Selah, stop and think. Okay, so these are all imagery. Okay, then let's go to number 7, hyperbolic. Okay, hyperbolic. This is a figure of deliberate exaggeration or emphasis. Okay, hyperbole or hyperbolic language is a figure of deliberate exaggeration. Exaggeration means extra words. Okay, putting extra words. We usually use this hyperbole many times when we speak something. For example, you saw an accident and you saw a person injured, a slight injuries here on the forehead, and you tell to your friend, oh, I saw an accident. The person who got accident has got this forehead here, and that person whom you report will go to report someone, the third person, and then you say, I saw an accident, and the person who got injured has broken his forehead. See, a slight injury comes a bigger one, and now the third person tells to another person, the fourth person, and it says it gets or it has broken the foreheads. Hyperbole. Okay, hyperbole, exaggerating. Okay, exaggeration. Even if you happen to lose one small coins, you will say I have lost 10 rupees or 50 rupees or things like that. Okay, even if you lost a small thing, you'll say I have lost these things. Hyperbole. Okay, putting extra words. So there are some language like that here in the Bible. Okay, so people said it is too extreme that it may not be things like that. So the Bible is exaggerating. Okay, we will see them here. Some of the examples here from the Psalms. Okay. Consider Job 6:26 also there, to Psalms, Job 16:23, 30. But for us to explain well, let us go to Psalm 6 verse 6. Psalms 6 verse 6. There the psalmist says, I'm not going to read, I'll explain. Psalm 6 verse 6 says, I set my tears and then my tears has come out too much, that I began to swim in my tears. Oh, I began to swim in my tears. My tears, I have set my tears so much that I began to swim in my tears. So how can you believe that a person setting tears and becoming a big river or a big pool of water pool, and then he started to swim? How can it be? It is impossible. It is impossible. Now again, you will see Psalms 42 verse 3. It says, I have my tears have been my food day and night. Okay, Psalms 42 verse 3 says, I have set my tears, and my tears is my food for day and night. Nobody has a food of his own tears, isn't it? Exaggeration, okay? Why it is exaggeration? Hyperbolic express strong emotion and intense feeling, okay? It is just to show that you have gripped so much, okay? You have gripped to the degree where you cannot control, okay? You have set your tears and so much that you cannot control, okay? That's the language here. So those hyperbolic language are, you have to understand, these are poetry, okay? These are poetry. And then let's go down there. Special aspects of this kind of language is found in what we call it imprecatory psalms. Imprecatory psalms, a psalm that curse someone, a psalms that is prayed for revenge. Okay, there are many psalms like that. Okay, let's see psalms in which the writers call for the curse of judgment of God upon the enemies. Consider Psalms 58, 6 to 11. 58, 6 to 11. Now from there, when you go there, you see that David is praying for his enemy, that all my enemies should be blown by you, O Lord. He's asking God to blow the teeth or the tooth of his enemy. Okay? Then you see some of the harsh words like that. Now when you interpret this one, there would be a problem, because that is against or contrary to God's merciful, loving attitude towards sinners. God is loving us sinners, and how can God, blow the tears under the tooth of my enemies? How can I ask? How can I pray to God? So these are all extra, or it is exaggerating the curse that he is praying. Is it our God is like that? Now, when you interpret literally there is a problem. So how do you interpret this hyperbole? Okay, how do you interpret this hyperbole? Number one, some of the harsh expression are figurative language. Okay, figurative language. Figurative, that means not literal. Okay, it is in a language style expressing our greatest emotion. Okay, our greatest emotion. Just wait. Okay, I have a sun rays here. Okay. So some of the harsh expression are figurative language. Figurative. So you have to understand that it is figurative, not meant to be taken literally. So don't interpret literally there. Okay, and don't interpret or don't preach that David is asking God to blow the teeth or the tooth of his enemy. So let us ask God so that God will blow the teeth or the tooth of all our enemies. Now, that should not be the literal interpretation, okay? And that should not be what we should interpret and preach. So what we have to understand is this is a figurative language, this is a poetical language, and this cannot be interpreted literally. Okay, that is number one rules. Now, the writers are not speaking only for their own personal enemies, but of those who are the enemies of God. Sometimes the psalmists are not speaking or writing for their own enemies, but even for the enemies of God. Who is the enemies of God? It's his devil or the Satan. Okay. So you have to interpret in that way. Now, note the difference between David's writing about his enemy, including Saul, and his actual treatment of Saul. Consider Psalms 18:40. It is harsh words. David is talking to Saul to take revenge, or harsh words. But actually, when he start dealing with Saul, okay, he loves Saul, and he don't want Saul to be killed. He protects of Saul. He could have killed, but he did not. Okay, the way his treatment is different, and the language over here it seems to be his greatest enemy. Okay, so that is the art or the style of writings. Praying to God, pouring out his heart, expressing his heart. Okay, because that comes to a higher degree or highest degree. Okay, that is why it has been used like that. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to know when you interpret the Hebrew poetry. More in this one, when you come back to the final year, you will understand. I'm taking poetry books and poetical books, and you will understand more on these rules. Okay. So the guidelines, there are some guidelines here for interpreting Hebrew poetry. Number one, analyze the lines each couple to see how they are related to each other. Now you have to understand, when you read the two couplet or the couple, you have to understand what is this couple, whether it is contrast, whether it is repetition, whether it is hyperbolic, whether it is additional. First of all, you have to understand what kind of couple or what kind of line is this. Okay, so look for a figure of speech, analyze and interpret them according to the principles suggested earlier. As we have suggested earlier, we have to understand these are all figurative language. So you have to understand that I cannot interpret this literally, so I have to interpret in that way. So here are some, as we have learned some of the rules of how to interpret, you have to use those rules. Okay, so consider all extreme, harsh, or violent language in the light of the fact that poetry uses such language as prose does not. Prose does not use those languages because prose are almost literal in their sentences, but the poetry, okay, it is exaggerating. Sometimes we use the harsh or the violent language, but actually it doesn't mean that. Okay, but it is pouring out the spirit or the feeling of the person that has, okay, the personal feeling. So these are some of the Hebrew poetry, some of the rules for the Hebrew poetry. Okay, now next time we will see symbols. Okay, what are symbols and how do we interpret symbols? Okay, so as of now, we'll just wind up our class from here. Have a nice day. God bless you all.